Hello and welcome, all you internet experts. I'm glad you are, because I am not an expert. But welcome and thank you for joining me. I've got hopefully a little shorter live stream than I think we went 2.5 hours last time, which was a lot of fun, but it was long. But I really appreciate all the feedback and comments we had going on. So if you're in the chat, feel free to jump in, ask questions, or tell me I'm completely wrong. In a polite way, ideally, but whatever. I wanted to start out with a quick question of changed the lighting a little bit here, so the background's a little darker, and I'm not quite sure, not being able to see it, if well, I can see it, but you never know, until you're actually watching it on a screen later, how things look. So if I'm super dark, let me know, and I can bump up the lighting a little bit. But I thought the blue behind me was getting pretty blinding after a while, so I darkened down, let's see, that side a little bit, and hopefully that's easier on your eyes watching. So hi, John. Hi, Todd. Welcome. And good to have you here. So if things look just awful, just let me know. But if they're fine, I guess maybe I should make myself dark. Just put myself in the dark, and then the background might be more appealing video content. But anyway, of course, right as I wrapped up the live stream last week, we had Elon tweeting out about I guess last week was the full self-driving subscription that happened for the, hey Roland, and so the full self-driving subscription model came out for $199, which is, I guess, debatable about how you feel about the price. We bought it outright, so I don't really care what they're charging. Their reasoning for having it be $199 makes sense, but personally, I wouldn't advise anyone unless they had spare money laying around and wanted to play with it carefully, then go ahead and subscribe. But I have a friend who just took delivery today of a white Model 3, and she just drove it home, but it sounds like she had a great drive home, and they're all set up with their plug and everything. So just called to let me know that they got it and are excited. Everything went well, and that's always good. But when we were talking about, how they should do their order, I said, really, I'd wait until the FSD gets through the next couple beta phases and keep an eye on that. And then when the button is released, if it's in a good place, then I'd consider subscribing. But personally, for me, if I didn't have it already, I'd just wait, because I don't know that the added features are necessarily worth it. Again, tell me if I'm wrong. Jim, the Iowa Tesla guy, did a really good video on this. I don't know if you guys have seen that, where he kind of walked through what you get, what you don't get, and what the differences are, and his opinion of it. And I think he and I are thinking pretty much the same on it. But some people have got it and said it's so cool, and I know you can do like lane changes and stuff on navigate on autopilot, all that kind of stuff. So for people who drive a lot on the highway, maybe that's worth it. To me, I love that, but I also put on a lot of highway miles. So again, other people, of course you see people on Twitter and in the Facebook groups who run over curbs and ding this or that because they were doing smart summon and didn't take their finger off the button to stop it. So I did a whole video on that, and it's got some learning to go. So it's a cool party trick to play with, but play with safely. And I think, Todd, you were helping me with that, and I think you could attest to that being the case as well. Just going to see the comments here. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about the Supercharger thing. Yeah, at this point, unless you've got the spare income, in which case I'd say just buy it outright and save the money long term. Unless you want to subscribe for a month and then see what it's like, and then, but still, again, I'd wait. If it were I. Hey, yeah, Roland, you got it for 6K. I got it for 7, I think. 10K is a lot of money. Yeah, lease vehicles, definitely. That's a good good use case for that. But anyway, that's out there, and of course that was all the buzz over the weekend. Is the debates around that, and the debates around people who have the older Model 3s that need the hardware upgrade. Maybe some of the S and X's too. I'm not sure, but they would need the hardware upgrade, and then that would be an additional 1,500, and I think they've come down to 1,000 now. So I don't know if they were testing the waters to see if they could get away with 1,500, but we'll see how that all plays out. I know some people are upset about that because Tesla did say in 2016 or 2018 that all cars from that point would be capable of full self-driving. But again, if you didn't pay for that, why would you necessarily expect to have that functionality? I don't know. It's a debate I'm glad I don't have to worry about. Because I'm not sure where I would. Obviously, I wouldn't want to pay any extra money, but I do kind of understand why they need to charge, especially with chip shortages and supply issues. Coming up with a bunch of extra parts all of a sudden could be kind of a hassle. And you could say that's their problem, but still, they need to make money. Excuse me. Hope I caught that. I'm mostly back to normal. I had caught my daughter's cold over last week, so there was a lot of coughing in that one. I apologize, but pretty much through it now and back to normal. So let's see. Yeah, ones with AP2 and AP 2.5 need to upgrade hardware. Yeah, and you could argue on the other hand, Tesla does need to make money. On the other hand, they could have waited until maybe FSD, the button is available, and at that point maybe it would be more enticing to have to pay for it, or by then maybe these chip shortages and things would be sorted out, and it wouldn't be so expensive for them. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all comes out. I doubt next week on the earnings call if they'll talk about the take rate yet, it being only at that point 2 weeks old, or just a week old, really just over a week old by the time they do the earnings call. I think that's Monday. So I suppose if it's going really well, they'll say, "Oh, we've had good responses so far," or something relatively generic like that. But I don't know. The other thing, the big thing that John brought up is the Supercharger opening up, and we may have talked about this on an earlier live stream. Excuse me. Because I think there were reports out of Europe that some of the manufacturers were testing, or there have been a series of kind of hints that this was coming, at least in Europe. And I think that's where it's going to start. The tweets from Elon said we're going to open up the Supercharger network to other manufacturers this year. But he didn't say the whole network, and he didn't say all at once. And I think that's where a lot of people, kind of instantly went, "What, this year? There aren't enough, excuse me. There aren't enough here in, Minnesota and a lot of places yet. And in California, they have lines, even at some of the big superchargers. So I think, the knee-jerk reaction is always like, it's, there's not going to be enough. We're going to be crowded. That one person, I'm actually going to look this up, but before I do, my assumption is it's going to happen this year in Europe. They're all using CCS, and it shouldn't be a problem. The older Teslas, the older S and X models over there are using the Tesla plug, but almost everybody's on CCS over there. Sorry. So I think it'll roll out by the end of this year, Europe. Some vehicles will be able to use the Supercharger network. I could see maybe in China that happening too. I don't know if they're using CCS over there as well. I feel like they are. And China is building superchargers like just an insane. I follow I think it's like Tesla Supercharger or Superchargers is the Twitter handle. And basically when one opens, they post a picture and say, "New Supercharger open in here." And just China, 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 China. Just constant posts about that. I'm sorry. Of course, I shouldn't have said anything about coughing. I just brought the ghost of coughing up. But my take is it'll be Europe, then maybe China, because I can see China's government saying, "Hey, we need to open this up to other users," if they're CCS. And then there's also talk of, with infrastructure bills maybe happening here and EV charging networks being part of that and EV incentives, that by the time those go into effect, if Tesla wants a piece of that, then they would have to be open to everybody. And if that's the case, I would see the US maybe, I would say mid next year to late next year at the earliest. And that might be kind of what's behind the frantic build out of like giant superchargers in California, because there they already have some lines. And then if you add, the California roads have a lot of other EVs on them, more so than the rest of the country. So if you open that up, it's going to, that could cause real problems. But they're also building a bunch of massive superchargers out there. So maybe they're trying to get those in place first. I'm sorry, my voice is just killing it today. I was so excited earlier too, because I'm like, all right, everything's back to normal. Of course, I sit down to do this, and then everything falls apart. Hey, Jason. So that's my assumption, is that won't happen in the U.S. probably till mid next year, late next year, at which point there will be a lot more superchargers. And then there's also the talk of what adapter will the other EVs need. Eric on Facebook brought up a really good point of all the other EVs having charge ports in different spots around the vehicle. So are Bolt owners or Taycan owners going to come in and park weird at the superchargers and block them? And that I can see being a big problem. Even if they're given all the tools to do it right, that's still going to happen, because we all know some Tesla owners can't park right. Sometimes I can't park right. I have a tendency to park the driver's side almost right on the line, because I'm always thinking of getting my daughter out on the other side. So I want to leave a lot of space there. And then I get out and look at what I did, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I got to move. So, that could be a big problem. So, I'm wondering if the adapter will be, kind of like the CHAdeMO cable or adapter has, some length to it. I wonder if that'll be there will be even more cordage between the female end that goes onto the supercharger and the male end of the CCS port. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to wait and see what the details are. Hopefully other vehicle owners are charged a little bit more, maybe less. Somebody said, less than Electrify America, but more than the Tesla owners. That would help balance out the fairness, because I'll get to the comments in a minute, but I want to read this comment somebody posted on Twitter. And it says, thanks for removing the only reason of buying a Tesla. Now I can finally buy a proper EV and still use the best charging network. Anyone interested in a performance car with sofa seats? Let me know. I'm selling. So, well, if they're selling now, they might not be able to, at least in my guess, use the Supercharger network again for another year and a half. But, I think that's a lot of people's fear, is that Tesla gives up the giant advantage they have. John, I think you sent me this clip from CNBC, and surprisingly, they actually had a pretty good outlook on it, of that this could open up a lot of revenue from other EVs using the Supercharger network and really make that the de facto fast charging network across the country, and really in a lot of places in the world. And if they can scale it up and do it right, that'll be, that could be a huge boost to them. Sorry, I'm just slowly dying on camera here. But another thing with the adapter, we're in Europe and possibly China, it's easy if they're all using CCS. But here, everybody's going to be need an adapter. And if you've ordered anything from Tesla, especially adapters and things, they go out of stock like that. And they don't come back in stock all the time, or, at a real timely rate all the time. So if Tesla needs to, well, there's a chip and supply chain shortage, make all these adapters that people are going to buy for third-party cars, that's going to be a slow rollout, just getting those to people. Even if they've got it set to go now, that rolling out adapters is not Tesla's strong suit. And Jason might say rolling out the Plaid Model S is not their strong suit too. But hopefully that picks up. Let's see. Just going to catch up here. My guess on the billing is... Thanks, Matt. I'm glad I sound wise. It's all a facade. How the billing would be done. I'm thinking this is going to be part of the charging adapter, where there would be I don't know if it would be Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, where when you buy the adapter and you download the app, you put in or scan the QR code from your adapter, and that goes into your Tesla account. And so rather than charging the car, the Supercharger thinks it's charging the adapter. And I'm not sure how that would work with the charging protocols, but I think from a monetary standpoint, all it would have to do is say, hey, we received this much at this cost, bill it. So there again, that's why I don't think the adapter is going to be just this little thing. I think it's going to have some electronics in it, cooling probably, and different things to be a little more, so those other vehicles can be relatively plug and play once you have it and the app and are used to using it. I don't think they're going to do, well, I thought in California in like a year or two, they needed to have like a screen and credit card reader on chargers. This was, I think it was just to try to make a level playing field for everybody. So Tesla might roll something like that out, but it seems like a lot of waste and hassle when everything can be done between the cars or the app and the chargers. So I would think they would only do that if they're required to. Yeah, I don't know if legacy automakers would want to send them to superchargers, but on the other hand, they could maybe sell more EVs knowing that people can charge. Because right now some people are leaving leaving dealerships thinking they can use a supercharger because the dealers don't really know, or people at the dealerships don't know. So it would ease some of that confusion. But I think they would definitely want to try to have their own proprietary, or, go to a generic like an Electrify in America. Yeah, I know, Jason. I heard the thing about, the Plaids are just kind of stacking up, or the long ranges too are stacking up, waiting for something. I don't know if it's a a part or some software tweak they're waiting to do, or maybe, you know, that there was that one that had a fire, and that still kind of seems sketchy. I don't know if we've got any more details, but maybe after that happened, maybe they said, okay, let's pump the brakes. Let's make sure we do our diligence on that before we send any more out into the wild and then end up with a problem. So they could be doing that, or, you know, maybe something with that vehicle. There was a software battery management system issue, and they want to get that resolved and pushed out before more vehicles are on the road. But it'll be interesting. Again, if we hear anything on the earnings call of what the holdup is and when they see production returning, or distribution, you know, deliveries of those coming out. I don't think I know Hank, or I might know him by face and not by name. But yeah, it would be cool to see a Plaid in person for sure. Yeah, and in North Dakota it's rough. There's you know, when I did that interview with Destiny for the road trip, she was saying, I don't know if I put this in the road trip video or in the longer like piece I did on the dinosaur museum, which still isn't out yet. Destiny needs to review it before it can be released. But it's essentially done. Hopefully this week it'll come out. But the dinosaur museum, Destiny and her husband bought the chargers. Then the coal company or coal council donated like the power and getting it all installed. And so they just had to go to the city. They just had to go to the city and say, hey, can we put this on city property? So because oil is such a big political influence there, they had to make it as easy as possible, because obviously it's not politically great for them to be pushing EV stuff. But one of her big comments toward the end is like, the city's seeing the benefit of this being here, and that, you know, you comp somebody $1, $1.50 or whatever for a free charge. People are going to come looking for that charger, and then they'll come and spend $20-$50 in your town. And so for a little investment, you can bring new people to town, get them to spend money in local businesses, and the city's kind of starting to see that as a you know, potential good idea, where they probably wouldn't have before the dinosaur museum put theirs in. Six deliveries of S's out of... Were those plaids or long ranges, Jason? Yes, and if Canada opens in August, that would be awesome. I definitely want to get up there as soon as I can and do some driving on the main Canada highway. And North Dakota, if you're staying relatively near the interstate, getting across North Dakota's a breeze. If you go up by Roland, up in Williston, it's a little dicier, but there are options there. You can get back. You might need to stick around the charger a little longer than Michael and I did, but you can do it. I think more hotels and things in North Dakota are slowly getting chargers, but again, I think a lot of them are level 2. Man, I'm on a roll tonight. So, kind of speaking of delivery stuff, I said my friend took delivery tonight, and I have to admit I was a little nervous because I love Tesla and I love promoting them, and I want everyone in an EV, all that stuff. But at the same time, I know some people can have delivery issues, can be put back a little while on time, like Jason is, and panels not aligning, and I think they've got the 3 pretty much buttoned up by now, but still stuff happens. I know Tyler's having an issue with his. I don't know if it's related to the windshield he had replaced, or if it's just always had this issue, but like as excited as I am that someone I know is getting a Model 3, there's a part of me that's like, don't be one of those bad instances. I want everything to go well. I want everything to go smoothly. I hate to recommend something and then have it be a bad experience. So far they're happy. It's plugged in. They're in western Wisconsin, and they seem happy, and she had a blast driving it home. So hopefully it's all good. And I don't know if she's the kind of person who will be joining one of the Facebook groups or not, but we'll see. But I told her if she has any questions, give me a call, because like I said, I want this, especially with someone I was kind of helping guide them in this. I want it to be as smooth as possible. So yeah, a little bit of relief there that things went well. Oh, that's right. I did hear it was the wrong color. Yeah, Mike would have cried. The smoke is bad in Burnsville too. It's I was actually looking up today, and I bet this would be a really clear, beautiful day if we didn't have so much smoke. I don't know if it feels more humid. That's probably why I'm still coughing, actually. There is quite a bit of crap in the air. But I haven't seen the cooling system tear down yet. I really want to. I just haven't had a chance to. It keeps coming up on my feed, and I'm like, oh, I gotta click that, gotta get into that. Looks really interesting. What I found really surprising is he said, yeah, this is a night. Like the quote I've seen come out of there is like, this is a nightmare, but they're the second best. Like, compared to everybody else, this is really good. So that does kind of say that Ford's on the right path, at least on that format. Yeah, I've seen a couple of the bits where he kind of took it apart a little bit. There was the one where he did the shock face opening, but I think that was before they tore it out of the vehicle. So yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see on the Supercharger network thing how that rolls out, and what ends up happening with that, what that connector dongle cord ends up looking like. But I'd be surprised, like I said, if we even see what the cord looks like by the end of the year in the US. Another interesting thing I found this week was I watched two different live things. One was I think it was not the pollution control agency, but maybe it was the Minnesota American Lung Association branch or whatever, but some group like that was hosting an EV forum informational thing. And I think there was a Bolt owner, maybe a Leaf owner, a couple Leaf owners. And they did a really good job on the panel discussing their experiences. And then they were answering questions. And as they're answering, I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have seen this live because I want to jump in here so bad and, would make comments and things. Because everyone needs my opinion, right? But there was a sentiment kind of going around of, well, like, yeah, Tesla does that, or, Tesla does that, or like, where nobody said anything wrong or really offensive, but it was just kind of the, like, if you got a Tesla, you went the easy way. You haven't been through, real EV ownership, kind of like we've all been through the hard times together, and these people with 260, 330 or whatever miles of range, they don't really know what it's like. They don't really care. They're off of their Teslas and whatever, Tesla people. But some of the questions that were coming into them were like, these people, because they don't have that experience, and it's fine that they don't, but because there was nobody on the panel that had that the Tesla experience, some of the questions really should have been answered from that perspective too. Because if I didn't know better, coming away from that panel, I would think, Teslas are unattainable and, not really, real people who care about the earth, don't drive them, and EVs are really hard to manage. You have to do a lot of slow charging. And that's not exactly what they said or anything, but, it was just from their ownership perspective. And having driven an older Tesla and now a newer one, I'm listening to some of their feedback and answers thinking, oh, no, it doesn't have to be that bad. It doesn't have to, like EVs are further than the 2016 Leaf you bought. And I know they know that, but when they're answering a question from their experience, you're not giving confidence to people who are looking into it. And then on the other hand, I was watching Transport Evolved because I've been following their Bolt coverage with the fire issues and stuff. And Nikki did a live stream. Again, very good. But you had some Tesla jerks in there, going like, just get a Model 3, get a Model 3, get a Model 3. And just posting, Tesla's the best, Tesla's the best. And, I can understand how that gets super annoying. And, there are a lot of Tesla owners who are like, nothing but a Tesla. And really in Minnesota, for the most part, right now, that's kind of where I am. But if you want to make another choice, as long as you're informed about it, it's your choice and you can do it, and I hope you love it. But she also kind of has this, I'm so sick of hearing about Tesla. And, she even says that. And, there's a lot of, it seems like the only time she likes Tesla is when she's driving one. When I've seen her drive or review or something, she talks about how much she enjoys it or likes the Supercharger network, whatever. But any other time, it kind of comes off as like, oh, these annoying Tesla people. And I get it, people are trolling her, and that sucks. But, there's kind of two ends, the tribalism of nothing but Tesla, or Teslas aren't real EVs. They aren't about the mission of, a cleaner world or anything. And it's like, it's not, it doesn't have to be like that. It's very frustrating when I see stuff like that. And very frustrating, like this one guy in the comments was just, you could tell he was just trolling. And I'm sure he thought he was funny, but it came off as a real jerk move. And, even other people in the comments were like, Tesla, not all Tesla owners are annoying, just this guy. And so I just found that really interesting because, there is so much, the problems with the Bolt, just get a Model 3, get a Model 3, get a Model Y, whatever. And it's great if people want to do that. But, one person said, I'm so sick. I can't remember who it was. It was on the Minnesota Tesla owners group, I think. Or no, the Minnesota EV owners. And they're like, oh, I'm so sick of the Bolt, run around about this vehicle. And we're going to get I think we're going to get an ID4. And of course, I think somebody did post something about Tesla there, but, for the most part, here's somebody in a really frustrating situation. They found something they think they're going to go to. They've already owned an EV. They know what they're doing. They know what they're getting into. And they made their choice. It might not be my choice. Might be my wife's choice. She likes the ID4. She hasn't driven it yet, but every time she sees one, she likes it. So, I think to some degree, we got to let people make their choices and just be happy they're not going back to diesel or, going back to a gas car. I don't know where I'm going with that rant. It's just something I've noticed is there's so much animosity in some places, and it's kind of like, because Tesla's the biggest player, some people don't want to go with the popular thing, or don't want to admit there's anything good about the popular thing on one end. And then other people are like, anything but the most popular thing is complete trash. So hopefully people can mellow out a little bit, but on the internet, who knows if that's ever going to happen. I'm going to catch up here. John, which video? The Transport Evolved one about the Bolt fires, or the... I guess I could post them both. The other one from the Minnesota Owners Group. Yeah, if you don't... Yeah, you can get out in the weeds, if you're not in a Tesla, but you can in a Tesla too. Um, I think it was last year. Was probably 2019. I'm not sure, but I did a video something about like charging wastelands because we've got that. Let's see, which way are you guys seeing it? I think that's right from your perspective. If the Twin Cities are here, we've got this kind of charging wedge of 90 and 94, and then kind of in this middle area, if you're going straight from the cities out to Watertown, now that's under construction. But if you need to get out there, once you get there, you're just there. And there are a couple hotels and places that have level 2 charging if you're going to stay overnight. Or if you know someone who grew up there or live out there, you're fine because you can leave that area with a full battery and get to the supercharger network. But for us going out there, we went to a small town called Marietta. It's almost on the border with South Dakota, and let's see. I think we drove. I got to go back and watch my own video. But we didn't even drive like straight out there because we were in the 85D Model S. I think in the Model Y, I could probably drive out there, and maybe when the new Watertown Supercharger is up, I'll do this. Is drive. It's basically just straight west from the cities, and stop there, and then come back. But when I did it in the Model S, I had to go. I think I went down across 90, then up from Worthington to this little town to make the video. We may have stopped at a hotel to get some level 2 charge for a little bit too and have lunch. And then had to drive slowly up to Alexandria and then back down to the cities. So that was, even in a Tesla, a tough spot to go. Okay, the Minnesota group. Okay. I will try to find that. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's still tough. Like, Mankato's supposed to get a supercharger next year. I grew up in Lesueur, really close to Mankato. So for me, I'm like, yeah, there should be one. There should be two. There should be like one near Lesueur, and then one, a ways past Mankato. But Mankato's the big town; it makes more sense to put it there. But hopefully, and if other people start paying in, superchargers will expand even faster. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. Excuse me just a second. He vanished. Poof, I'm back. I need to add some special effects. So this is another topic I thought this would be good to throw out there and get people's opinions on. Is I've noticed a lot in the last few days of, not so much in the Minnesota owners groups, but there's a little of that, as these groups get bigger and bigger. I'm also in, I think it's called the Model Y Enthusiasts group. And frankly, it's not a very good group. The Minnesota groups are much better. I'm spilling the tea on the Facebook groups. But there are a lot of, as new people become owners, the same questions, the same memes, the same things get posted repeatedly, and it's a little annoying. But, we were all there at one point. There's the meme of the superchargers, in a flooded area, and it's like, oh, I thought smoking at the gas pump was dangerous. I thought that was hilarious a year and a half ago. Now I just hate it every time I see it posted. It's so annoying. Because, okay, yeah, that was funny, when it was new. But people are discovering things all the time. There have been a lot of posts on the EV or the Model Y enthusiast group about, all these stupid people posting pictures of, oh, I got my car, or, how do I do this, or how do I do that? Nobody knows how to use the search function. It's like, yeah, the repeated posts of, asking the same simple questions over again are annoying, but it's like people are excited, and don't necessarily, they're probably also new to the groups and don't think oh, this group has been around longer, I'll do a search. And, I'm thinking of my friend who just took delivery. I can totally see her, getting on one of those groups and just start asking questions. And, maybe that's on me. Maybe I should have coached her to, don't do that. You'll get hammered. But, some of it's especially in this Model Y enthusiast group, it kind of reached a point the other day where it's I don't know that I want to hang out in this group anymore. Because, the vitriol toward people who are, brand new and exciting just seems really detrimental to pushing things forward. I don't think there's anything wrong with a gentle reminder of hey, we get this question a lot. If you have some basic questions like that, feel free to search the group. But here's the answer. I think it's one of those, you get more flies with honey, and you help people on their journey of, being a better group member, but also a more informed EV owner by helping out. That's my soapbox segment. But I just see that those kind of posts come up where, the guy who was super rude to Tyler the other day, and it's okay, you don't need to be like that. Tyler was pointing out somebody fully charged and just taking up a level 2 charger. Or maybe it was the fast charger. I think it was the fast charger. And they could have moved to either one of the level 2s or to a different spot because they were full. And someone went after him about, well, what have you ever done? This guy installed, had these chargers installed, and that's great. But it doesn't mean that you should practice bad etiquette. So, yeah, I think there's just a lot, and maybe it's summertime, people are hot and cranky, maybe, I don't know. But I wish people would be a little more forgiving if people don't say things quite the right way or anything. Because I clearly do not much of the time. yeah, yeah. Some people don't know how to open the doors. Some people don't know some of the basic stuff. I hope people seek out tutorials. I mean, there's a lot of Tesla YouTube content. I know that for sure. Um, and there are even times when we got the Model Y, I had to look a couple things up because it was so different than the Model S that a couple things were just not in places I expected or thought to look. And so I did some searching on uh, on YouTube and found the answers. But I think a lot of people also, well, I think very few people watch as much YouTube as I do, which is probably not good. But a lot of people, like my friend who took delivery. I keep using her as an example, but she's 15 years older than me, 10, 15 years older than me, and YouTube's not a big part of her life, but I think she is on Facebook. So joining one of those groups to get answers is, the way she would do it rather than, oh, I'm just going to search a bunch of random YouTube videos and find it. Of course, I've encouraged her to watch all mine, but, there's only so much of that you can do. Yeah, to most people, it's just a car. And, they don't get way in the weeds and pay attention to what um, Elon said at the Bitcoin conference today, and like, oh, did he leave any nuggets about production or anything? Um, I'm not a big crypto guy, so I didn't really tune in. I think Dave Lee on Twitter did a pretty good rundown of some of the big points, but it wasn't anything revolutionary that we didn't kind of already know. If you follow Elon or kind of follow Tesla and Elon and Bitcoin's progress, how they've been working with that. So, yeah, some people, and I think my friend will be doing this, is like, she got it. She got a Tesla. She has the name, like, I own a Tesla. And might never delve deep into the menus, might never do a lot of the stuff, search for a lot of the stuff. And she's just going to drive it and love it, hopefully. Obviously, I want that for her. And as more and more people buy EVs, buy Teslas, there's going to be more and more just, I want a car, and this is the car I want. So we're going to have to be patient with them and be patient with each other. So as these groups get bigger and bigger. John, I did the video didn't freeze. I'm trying to read your comment there. Um, Ham radio operator wanted to know the maximum current. Oh. So you're using your ham radio in your car. So you're plugging into the I don't know what you call it now, auxiliary port, what used to be the cigarette lighter, um, and actually doing your ham radio in the car. I did know there were no fuses, but I don't know. I mean, I know what a fuse is, but I don't know what Tesla's using instead. Thermal resetting fuses. So would that be like a fuse box where it just, after it cools down, it trips back? Interesting. I am, let's see. So the, like I said, the dinosaur video, that's just about like my interview with Destiny about a whole bunch of dinosaur stuff, how they dig, where they dig, how you can sign up if you want to be a volunteer and actually go out and do the digs. That's all going to be in that video. And then we talk about the more than I did in the road trip video, the process of putting that level 2 charger in their parking lot in Dickinson, North Dakota, and kind of the reactions and things, the reasoning behind it, and then, like I said, that reaction from the city. So once Destiny has a chance to review that video, I'll release that. Might be this week, might be next week, not sure, depending on her schedule. I told her not to worry about it. Apparently the museum just got a giant new skull from I think it's like one of the duck-billed, I can't remember the name of the dinosaur, but so I'm sure they're all busy working around all the new stuff that's coming in around the field. So I told her not to worry about it. When she gets to it, she gets to it. And then my next road trip video is going to be partially a catch-up with the Well Done Foundation. I'm going to do a separate feature on that with some interviews that I'm still trying to line up with Curtis. He was out of town. So we're going to do a Zoom thing and catch up with that. But the road trip video will have some of that stuff in it, some of the update, and what the field looks like now, 8 months after I was there the first time. And then it'll have more road trip. I'm not sure if we'll get through Yellowstone and Rocky Mountain in this segment. I'm still editing it, and I don't want it to go too long or try to rush those big event places too fast. So we'll see, but it's going to have more scenery and an update with the Well Done Foundation, so that should come out on Sunday. They do reset after they cool down. So that's, unless anybody else has anything they want to chime in the chat with, what they want to talk about or want me to blather on about, happy to do that. It seems like in the Minnesota Tesla owners group, there are a lot of events going on, and I would love to hit all of them. I'm going to try to hit next Wednesday. I think there's a 5 p.m. something in St. Paul. And so I'm going to try to hit that before I come back here and do this. So I got to not drink too much and make sure I can get back here safely and competently to do this again next Wednesday. But it's so great to see all these events cropping up. And actually, Jason, if you're still on, you were at something at Buck Hill. And does that go on every Wednesday night? It was like a car and bike show or something. So that's pretty cool. My wife went to a movie with her sister. There's a movie about Anthony Bourdain, I guess. And they both love him, and so they went and watched that. And she came home sad. Who would have guessed? I was watching Joan alone, and after a hot, sweaty afternoon, I didn't want to take her to a parking lot for the event, but I would want to check it out if it's happening again, on future Wednesdays. Roland, I'm not understanding what the I got one was. I may have said something where that response made sense, but I can't remember what I said 5 minutes ago. What do you expect out of me? One time I gave a test drive. I was asked in the event, and the driver having. Oh yeah, if you had if you have a heart attack, it will stop. And actually, somebody did have a heart attack and had navigated, had the car navigate to a hospital, and it got him to the right exit, and he was able to essentially have the car drive him to the hospital. But I don't think it would necessarily call OnStar. I don't know. Maybe in the future, with FSD more functional, maybe that would be part of it. But if you don't need to give it responses, like the steering wheel or something, I don't know how it would. Because if you're allowed to be inattentive, would you... Maybe you'd still have to be able to press a button or something, nearest hospital or, something like that. With a voice command, maybe? I'm not sure. Yeah, 5 p.m. with St. Paul rush hour traffic, but we'll see. I'm going to try to make it to that one. I was going to say, on your channel, Chemist America Lifestyle, Roland, you've been doing a lot of drives with people and their impressions. And so far I've only watched one of them, but because I want to focus on it, and so I'm going to get to the other ones. But I'm excited to see what people up in that area are thinking about the Model 3. And are you giving rides in the Model 3 or is it in the S? I can't remember. But those are great. So if anybody hasn't seen those, I think it's always fascinating to get impressions of new people in a Tesla, their first drive, and especially up in Williston is big time oil country. So that perspective is always good to hear. So. Have you done about have there been 3 or 4 of those now that you've done? Well, I don't know if you're typing or not, but those were all the topics I wanted to cover. Like I said, I'll maybe add a couple links in the description of different things you can check out. I'll try to find that Minnesota EV owners forum thing they had. And yeah, just... oh, you let them choose and they like the 3. Okay. 3 now. Okay, cool. Yeah, those are cool. So I like that you're doing that. But I think that wraps it up for me tonight. My main theme is hey, let's just be more chill and cool to each other online. With us versus them of Tesla to other owners or other EV owners. Not that there shouldn't be any criticism or good-natured ribbing, any of that kind of stuff. That's all cool, but I like it when we're all kind of on the same path of let's get people out of diesel, get people out of gas, and make this transition happen. I think that's the best for all of us, and like rolling more people trying it, the better. More people getting that experience, all the better. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I just saw John posted one more thing. Yeah, Warren and Alex are going to have a debate. I don't know when that is, but I saw that on Twitter that they're going to hash it out. So that should be interesting. Maybe it's all for the ratings. Who knows? I don't know if they've set a time for that yet, but it'll be interesting. But again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you hanging out, and I will talk to you. Well, next video will be out on Sunday with some Well Done Foundation updates, and more to come on that in the next couple weeks as I get some other interviews done and things. And like I said, that other dinosaur feature is with Destiny is going to again be out whenever she gets a chance to review it. So it will get here when it gets here. But I'll try to stick to the Sundays for the main road trip and other main channel content, and Wednesdays for this. So have a great night. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate you joining me. And now Brian looks once again for the end screen. Thanks again. Bye.